Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Today we have a very fun one for you. This is the second of two matches with NBK, Bekhotny General, Zhongjina, and 715 team, so it is a 4v4 on the 3v3 version of Highway to Seoul. Before we get into all that, however, and I promise I won't do this all that often, but the last month has brought with it a lot of new people, and unfortunately a drop from 40% subscribed to 15% subscribed, so if you wouldn't mind doing something about that on this video, I would be very much a grateful man. So, we are on the 3v3 version of Highway to Seoul, and it has a lot of, well, horizontal play that's possible. I am going over to Mike and Hotel, as well as capping Lima myself, and I'm playing as, once again, Blue Dragons, while my three allies here, I Hate Helos, Russian Lullaby, and Grim Reaper, are headed up toward Delta, India, and Juliet. Now, the start was kind of telling, and this is an interesting thing. So, if we take a look at the neutral perspective for just a moment, there's a lot going into Delta, and some of it's slow, some of it's on the ground, but there's a lot as well in the air, and, you know, we were pretty spread out, one person to zone, so we have somebody going to Juliet, that's Helos, we have Lullaby headed toward Echo, and we have Grim headed toward Delta, and I think they were a little bit less spread out, so if we take a look, there's some stuff going over to Juliet, and a KA-52 from 715 team that will prove to be absolutely devastating, but there's a double up in Delta, and Grim will have to face that all on his own. So, let's stop cheating and looking at the opponent's units, and we can see, the start here isn't too bad. We have a Machbet from Lullaby headed over to help, and an AH-64 escort with a wonderful, wonderful autocannon that will be sparring with some of these helicopters, and they aren't cheap, right? So 45 points, 50 points, that kind of territory, and an Mi-17, of course, is 35. So we do get some nice pickups here off the bat. For myself, I'm sending an OH-6D all the way over to Gulf, just trying to get some early scouting, also picking up two AH-1Js. Bit of a mistake here, I probably should have waited to see more of what was needed, but I was terrified that I wouldn't be able to get something over there in time. Now, we do have a bit of, well, creative scouting here, so a KA-52 from 715 team, the one that was up in Juliet, is headed back over toward Kilo, and you can see there has been some sparring over in Juliet as well, so Helos is kind of encountering a bit of trouble, and his Hawkios will be very nice there, but will come under some fire. And I've pulled out an F-15J just to try to kill the KA-52. It's not how I wanted to try to do it, but we needed something back here to take this guy out, and Blue Dragon's anti-air is weird. So I didn't want to pull out a short arrow that would proceed to miss and then get killed, and all this stuff. And radar, of course, doesn't work, but Lullaby actually gets the kill with the Baz. So my own plane is not too successful there. And if we go all the way back over to Hotel, now my forces are starting to get up and into position. The OH-60 getting a nice couple kills at the start with those rocket pods, which are now, of course, out of position. And I'm just going to try to set up a couple nice things here in Hotel. We will be looking back over on this side of the field quite a lot, so don't worry about that. But you can see Grim has been kind of zoned out of Delta, and if we take a look now, Bekhotny General and NBK working together to push up through that area, and that will be quite a problem. And back to my own efforts, I wanted to push this AH-1J forward, and I thought if I could get him up there, I could get some nice kills on infantry and things that my opponent Zhongjina is moving up through here, but looking at those Su-57-2s, these guys are weird. They're 25 points. They're Finnish, I've used them myself, their HE power is massive, and they're very, very good helicopter killers, especially for the points. So instead we are moving forward, apologies about that noise, we are moving forward with infantry. I have some Haebyung 90, some Chumat, and JSDF Rangers, and I was hoping to sort of zone out this reinforcement. I really wanted him to pull back toward Gulf. That's not going to happen, so a little bit over-optimistic of me in that regard. And, well, I mean, the Chumat will get some good kills jeez, swing and a miss right there. It had to be right when I was giving you a compliment, too, this Chumat, their 60% accuracy, 21 AP power is not the most deadly in terms of raw AP power that you could find, but I don't know, I like it. I think the high accuracy is pretty nice. A couple of T-72s were spotted. Now, I thought these guys were T-80s. I was not really thinking too much at the time, so I thought they were quite a bit more expensive, 65 points instead of 40, and I got a little bit terrified that they'd be able to smack my entire push. So, naturally, what comes out but a Peace Pheasant 2, and we're going over to snipe two 40-point tanks. this is not how you want to do it. It's not valuable enough to do that. What I really needed was I needed a K1 or something like that up there to anchor this side, because my OH-60 is getting stunned, my Habyung and JSDF Rangers don't have the vision, well, don't have the range that they need to take out some of the light vehicles in this. I mean, the Su-57-2s are pretty light. Peace Prison 2 coming in, 1 kill and 2 kills. We do get both of them, and can we get out? Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay, so the Su-57s were firing, but we managed to get out all right, and that is enough to prompt Zhang Jina to kind of, well, I was about to say to hesitate, but I didn't realize he just kept pushing forward, and that will actually prompt me to pull back. So while I'm pulling back, let's take a look. Delta has been capped for the Red 4 team, and Grim is very much struggling. So we have artillery coming in, Huzao Ren and Ducken's Grupa being attacked, and Moat shoots in over, ambushing. This looks A1, that's not going to be a good fight, and the counter cap is very nice here, so this is pretty good. And if we can hold a good position, Grim, I think, is hoping to just keep a toehold in here and prevent that +2 that they would get from Delta. But there's a big bomber coming in, MiG-25 RBF, and let's see what this guy's going for. Bombs away. Oh, nice, and yeah, that's gonna hurt. So lots of the infantry there is gone. YPRs are doing their best, Milan team over here doing their best, Flieger, Faust, and Huzao Ren, but it's just, I don't know, it's very hard. As we saw the other day in the 3 different openers, it's very, very difficult to recover from something quite like that. So in the meantime, in the center we have, ooh, that's Helos. I thought that was mostly, where did Lullaby go? Okay, so Lullaby has some stuff here. Helos, it looks like, is working over in Juliet. Let's take a look at Lullaby, because I thought he had, okay, so 2 3D bases, that's a lot of points here, 180 apiece. And it looks like some of the other forward elements were taken out, so they were headed up toward Echo and Delta, and, well, we have the 2 3Ds, and yeah, I guess this kind of explains, Helos is being very cautious here, but there is a constant attack from 715, and these open fields are a hell of a time to deal with if you are trying to push through them from either direction, really. I mean, it can be very challenging. A couple of ATGM teams up on the high ground can overlook this, and then a little bit of vision is very effective, so I've done that before myself. And I think at this point, well, it was getting a little bit rough. So if we take a look now back at my perspective, there's a Pion, and I love these tanks. They're 75 points. They're not as good as the M84ANs, of course, but they are a little bit cheaper as well. They kind of remind me more of the Chinese, what is it, the ZHU, the 60.1 in terms of their effectiveness. Better gun on the Pion, but kind of the same role. It's not exactly a good enough gun to fight heavier main battle tanks. And you can see I'm just pulling back my Habyung, my JSDF Rangers, Hudoran, and Kyurokus, trying to maintain out of enemy fire. This was the expected artillery, and my Habyung are suffering for it, but I'm trying to get them out. Hudao Ren went over to the side, and I'm getting a little bit of vision over here, so more JSDF Rangers moving up and forward, and we do now have a K1 in the back as well, and I'm trying to mimic my opponent's style of play, to be honest, because I have no doubt that Zhang Jina is a far better player than I am, and seeing the differences in what we called in, followed by the differences in how that worked, where I'm retreating and he's not, where I'm losing a lot and he's not so much, was honestly, I mean, that's something to think about, right? Like, I love playing as Baltic in Finland as well, and I've never tried playing like that. So we'll give it a shot here real soon, and I think maybe we'll see some success with it. T-72BU from 715, and there was some heavy tank sparring going on in this section, so you can see the 3D bases are doing their work, and an artillery strike on an expected position. Not a lot of success there in terms of kills, but the stun and panic is very nice, and it also does delay resupply. So those 3D bases were knocked off their resupply, and that will delay getting them back into the action. So very nice artillery strike from the Red 4 team there, and here comes a bit more at our home zone. Of course, the Ka-52 could see a lot, so that prompted a move, the Auxiliary Pakut here from Lullaby, and there's more follow-up artillery just searching for it, which is not going to be very pleasant. So at this point, we do get a ticking +1 just for a moment, and now it's gone, as Golf was momentarily uncapped and then recapped, and now you can see I'm starting to get my own mortar, the K242, online, and this guy, 4 HE power isn't enough to kill a lot of things, but it can definitely panic and stun, and it can work down infantry in woods if you give it enough time. So I like it. Rate of fire is pretty nice as well, at least I think it is, and the aim time is pretty short, so it's a mortar, it's nothing special, but I thought let's just return the favor a little bit in terms of lobbing shells in our opponent's direction, and let's just take a look. So this is what I'm up against here. We have a lot of Su-57-2s, we have a lot of BMP-1s, CC Scout infantry just sort of scattered about, and BMP-1KTs also scattered about, so definitely leading with the recon tab out of Finland, which, I mean, it's a very potent recon tab. I definitely like that idea. And then cheap BTR-50s bringing infantry up, trying to clear me out of these positions, and really no heavy tanks here. So not something I really knew at the time. I guess the heaviest one is the T-72M1D command tank, but really that's not saying all that much. I guess, well, no, the Pion's probably a little bit better. Yeah, so those two are really it. There's no super heavies. My K1 is more capable on its own than any of the tanks on the other side of the field at the moment. And yet, Zhongjina has the cap, and I do not. So I will have to call out a command vehicle, and I do. Bonbu and a UH-1H will be headed up there shortly. And I have a lot of stuff over here. I probably could have been more aggressive, and looking at the overall field, that was definitely something that would have been called for. So we do have Echo for right now. Stuttruppen from I Hate Helos and a couple Merkavas from Lullaby are pushing forward there. Milan team's always holding well in the center, but losing Delta early was probably what made the game. It's probably why the Red 4 team pushed for it, which was not something that we really thought of. When we were talking about it before the game, the conversation was over Echo, because it's really hard to get into Echo if you're pushed out of it, and you can see that right now. The Red 4 team, despite all of their successes in other locations, is struggling rolling back Echo. I'm not saying they will never be able to do it, or that it's impossible, it's merely difficult. And signing up for a difficult fight to make the game is never something that you want to do. In the meantime, Grim is still holding very valiantly, and quite frankly, I was very impressed and surprised that this side didn't give away after that double team in the beginning from Pekhotny General and NBK. So it was nice to see. I think if we take a look here, this is mostly going to be a holding force. So a couple M84s, no, these guys would have been pushed forward. That's why they're moving back injured, right? M84A, and yeah, there's still some forward elements here. Motschutzen and cheap transports just, I guess, scouting in force, as it were, but a very nice concave here from Leopards from Grim Reaper will be holding them at bay pretty effectively. It's now to go back over to me. Selfish bastard that I am, I know. I'm trying to get some work done around the side, so I have some cheap 10-point vehicles. These guys have quad M2 Brownings. I just wanted to try it out, and for 10 points, it's pretty good infantry support as well, and we're going to be getting a couple units of infantry going through the woods here on the western side, just trying to get around my opponent's defenses, but my Hudao Ren are struggling. They've not been reinforced the whole game, and this was actually kind of fun. So they got attacked, I moved them back. My mortar fire was back too far. It was a little optimistic for my opponent not chasing me, so that was a problem. And it should be, I think, repositioning here in just a second. Yeah, repositioning. Bonbu are moving up. I did kind of forget about them for just a minute. Not exactly great when you're down points. But Yeguri make contact with the Hudao Ren again, and I mean, we're holding our own, right? So the 62 Shiki is doing okay. Yeguri 90, though, are very nice as far as regular infantry go. And now there's an engagement over on the left-hand side as well. Panzer Yeguri encountering my Sochung-Su 85. A single group versus two, this should go in my favor. It's just a matter of whether or not it will be a cost-effective one in my favor. CC pushing up the hill, and seeing this, I thought, okay, well, no. This is my side of the hill, and I can't let you have it. And then also the mortars repositioned and firing in at the Yeguri do make the difference. So a little bit of fire support can be also telling. 2 kills off of the mortar fire right there, while as we were watching, and the Hudao Ren take the victory. So we were losing that fight, a little bit of fire support, now we're winning the fight. That's what you want to see. Sochung-Su are killing the Panzer Yeguri, and we're getting K200s and the Seonggongpo. Sorry. If you can't tell, I am American. Can't pronounce shit. Are going to be headed up sort of one after another, moving through those woods. Another group of Yeguri is encountered, Hudao Ren engaging them as well, and more mortar fire on the way. And unfortunately, a couple K200s I was moving around there are spotted and killed, probably by a BMP, that's my guess, and I'm not able to get some good work done there. But the Hudao Ren outlasting 2 units of Yeguri was, if nothing else, it felt very nice. So maybe not the most impact. And so Hotel's countercapped. If we take a look on this side, I'm holding Mike, my opponent's holding Golf. We're contesting the middle zone. That's kind of what we're supposed to do on this side. And the victor on this side is really who can wrest control of Hotel. It wasn't that far into the game either, about 15 minutes, but the concerning thing was we're 15 minutes in, we're 300 points down out of 500, and our opponents have a +2. And if we look at Echo, I said this was difficult earlier, but it is possible, and we can see that now as the Red 4 team is definitely pushing us out. So NBK and 715 team pushing through Russians' defenses here with his Macbeths and Merkava 1s, and I don't know, so holding for now, right, but Blue 4 artillery can be very, very potent, and I mean, just progressively stunning and killing everything farther back, and then leading with cheap Motostrelki to pull away, targeting priority, and, well, let our opponents know what's where, right? So that guides the artillery for a more effective second strike, and not much is lost on this front line. So a very, very effective, very grindy push from NBK and 715. It's a type of push that I realized you never see this against newer players like myself, and you very often see it against experienced players, so there must be something to it. We will be trying to incorporate that here in the next couple weeks, I think, to make things go a bit better for ourselves, selfishly. Hudao Ren sparring with BMP 1KT, and this will finally be the end of those valiant Hudao Ren, as I cannot quite get those recoilless rifles online quick enough, and my Seung Po does get a little overconfident there. But now I have So Chung Soo down on this side, and that does give me a little bit of vision here, trying to keep these infantry alive, and also setting up another group toward Gulf, trying to get through my opponent's lines there and cut off his reinforcements potentially, or at least draw some attention back here. As you know, looking at the overall state of the field, I realized I have to push through Hotel. If I can't take Hotel and even pressure Gulf, this game is lost. But if I can, then maybe there can be something salvaged. If I can get all the way through to Gulf, then you know we can get the +1 from Hotel, we can get a +2 swing in Gulf potentially, and I don't know, I had delusions of grandeur at this point, thinking if I could get through here, if I could just go, then maybe it would work. And so you see everything there is moving forward. K200s leading the way, Hudao Ren and Rangers on this side, infantry moving up. I am smoking up a couple of expected enemy positions as well. And if we look here, we have a K1, we have a Hachi Shiki double stack, and we have another K1 following up behind it. So no Kiyomono Shikis, they have actually one Kiyomono Shiki right there at the back. I wanted my K1s to die first, if anything's going to, and we can see this is just the numbers approach, and I will lose things here. It will not always be favorable trades. I'm way too grouped up on this side, alt this one spot. This is what happens if you attack move everything instead of, you know, thinking about it and going slowly and planning things out. Now the T-72s are firing in at K1s, but my K1s should win that fight, and Hachi Shiki's unloading with Jumats as well is pretty nice, but everything here needs to go. As you can see, I force path it right there, because I was expecting an enemy artillery counter-fired to try to slow me down here. We are getting through the T-72s. Here comes the artillery, though, so it was not long in coming. A mark of a very skilled, on-the-spot sort of opponent, and my Kiyomono Shiki is stunned. Some of my infantry that were farther back are stunned and getting injured as well. The T-55M Pion is a problem and needs to die, but the K1, that's what he's there for. That's why I was very happy he was able to get up through those woods, so long reload time here, but let's see what we can do, and firing at the Yekri. So not the best targeting priority there. I kind of wish he'd killed that Pion, and we can see the other K1 is dead, and my AH-1Js are still suffering, so I pulled them back, trying to get rid of these Su-57-2s before the helicopter support moves up any farther. We also have, I guess, more Rangers and K200s head up that way. I'm a little stalled in the center, but on the left-hand side we have broken through, so Hachi Shiki are making their way forward, Hebyung 90 and Rangers, and I'm trying to mimic my opponent here, having the infantry move up and then fire support following behind, and this was the enemy command tank. So I should have stopped the So Chung Soo. Excuse me, I should have stopped these guys in the woods. They would have been hidden, and instead I blanked. I was trying to do too much here. I was trying to micro a couple of things on this side, and instead they get fired at by the T-72, the T-72Ss that are headed up this way, and yeah, unfortunately taken out there when they were directly in the retreat path of that command tank and could have gotten a very nice rear shot on 3 back armor. But the Hachi Shikis are moving forward. We're finally clearing stuff out of the right side of the zone here too, and I was thinking, you know, maybe we can actually hold this. So Rangers giving us excellent vision, 2 T-72Ss, 125-point tanks here, and I called in a Peace Pheasant to kill the command tank. We instead get, let's see, 1, 2, swing and a miss, and we do get 1 kill on the T-72s off of that Peace Pheasant, who will not be making it out alive, as anti-air does take him right out of the sky. So, Napalm Bomber coming in from NBK, and there's a little bit of a double team going on now as NBK is supporting Zhongjina's defenses on this side. Brutal Napalm. My Q Marushiki has also been taken out, and I've lost most of my offensive power here. 2 K1s are nice, but the Q Marushiki was really the pride and joy of this side of the field, so that's a very expensive loss. We have secured Hotel, but 457 points for our opponents. Grim is still very much struggling on this side, despite support from Lullaby as well with Grenadiers, Merkava 3Bs, and we are, I guess we're moving through the center of the zone a little bit, but it's a little too late, as Echo has been capped. Even India is in danger, as Zalosnichi are moving up to the side there, and I'm sure there's support behind them. So I think it's a little bit of, geez, even some sparring with my F-15 against an L-17K. Kill went to Grim, of course, and I think my own plane did get out. But you know, this is a decent position. I was happy with it. The H-1J is now moving up, trying to make their presence known, and definitely doing a number on these Panzer Yekuri. Peace Pheasant 2 coming in. I really wanted that command tank, and I couldn't quite get it, so I am shot down there, stunned just before I could unload with those ATGMs off the Peace Pheasant 2. But K1 and the H1Js, oof, K1 taken down. But that T-72S is, you know, that's punching down for him, and we were trying to punch up a little unsuccessfully. Let's see if we can get it done. 490 points for our opponents. Looks like a spike team firing. Weapons jammed, 1 point of health left. 491 points for our opponent. K1 gets the shot, and down goes the T-72. So a very nice way to end the match. Well, felt good anyway for me off of a loss to end with a kill on such a important and heavy enemy tank. So that will be all we've got for the game. But let's take a look at kills and losses. We actually outkilled them. So 68-30 for the blue 4, 61-70 for red 4, but they were 500 points to 0, so sometimes kills don't matter as much as position, and I mean, looking at that, Helos did very well for kills, Lullaby did extremely well for kills losses, and Grim was about even. I was under. And if you guys will allow me some small bit of pride, I might have been under, but I did get the neutral zone there at the end on the right-hand side of the field, so a little too late, and I wasn't able to get through to the next zone quite yet. Maybe it would have if I'd moved earlier, but that is the game. So very well played to my opponents, MBK, Pekhotny General, Zhongjina, and 715 team. If you guys recall, I am still winless against Pekhotny General, but we didn't exactly spar directly this time. So, and also many thanks to I Hate Helos, Lullaby, and Grim for some excellent teamwork over a course of a very nice evening. So, units that did well, Huda Ren did very well, I mean, very well. 2 BMP-1s, 2 Yekuri, Panzer Yekuri to Sochung-su. K1s did not really pull their weight, I think, but the Q Marushiki definitely got some good work in, so double T-72, the Pion, some infantry, and some vehicle support there. Other K1 did well. And the other, so Hachi Q Shikis, I think, are just wonderful. Look at this. 25 points, and all of those kills, including Naito 78. Yeah, I guess that's most of what we got. The K1 did get that last kill on T-72S at the end, as well as a couple of supporting vehicles. So, thank you all for hanging around, and like I said at the beginning, it's a tiny channel. I'd appreciate any help I can get, and, well, we'll see you again real soon.